There it is. Now, what is that? It keeps saying, take us to your leader. I don't know. Now, that's another guy I'm going to hire, whoever's responsible for that.
Let's go back to October 28, 1979, during a football game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Something unusual happened that day. During a commercial break, the broadcast was unexpectedly interrupted as the announcers focused on two unidentified objects hovering over the stadium, witnessed by more than 50,000 spectators. The most logical explanation offered was that these were UFO-shaped kites, commonly sold at football games. However, if such kites were indeed popular at these events, it seems unlikely the announcers would have reacted with such confusion. Their bewilderment suggests something more unexpected. Upon closer inspection, the objects appeared to be spinning rapidly and seemed relatively small, likely around 20 inches in size, which could correspond to a kite's dimensions. Despite decades passing since this incident, no conclusive explanation has emerged. While some attendees insist the objects were not kites, skeptics firmly maintain they were nothing more than that. Now let's head to Richmond, Virginia, where an unusual formation of lights was recorded on November 6, 2023, hovering slowly in the night sky. In the footage, a single light appears near the bottom of the frame, while to its left, a triangular formation with 3 more lights can be seen. About 40 seconds in, another light emerges from behind the trees, moving in the same direction as the others. Toward the end of the video, 2 additional lights enter the frame. These lights don't appear to be drones, in my opinion. They consistently move in one direction, which could cause a drone to eventually lose signal from its controller. Additionally, the person who recorded the video did not observe the lights returning to their starting point. What adds to the mystery is a similar sighting reported by another Reddit user in Ohio. They described seeing a similar cluster of lights about an hour earlier, though city lighting made it difficult to capture clear footage. Initially suspecting it was Starlink satellites, the user noted that 5 lights moved quickly out of sight, only for 3 to reappear moments later above the tree line in the western sky. What do you think about these light formations? Do you believe the drone theory, or could it be something else? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's take a closer look at a video from 2013. Details are scarce, except for the title suggesting it was recorded in the US in June of that year. The footage captures a bright object gliding slowly across the sky, emitting what seems like an electrical discharge. Shortly after, another bright object zips by and vanishes behind a tree. This sequence repeats with a similar object. Just before the video concludes, the initial object mysteriously disappears without a trace. Could these objects be part of a planned event, or are they something beyond the ordinary? The answer remains uncertain. In early January 2007, 2 close-up photographs of a saucer-shaped UFO were taken in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The first image shows an unidentified craft with multiple lights underneath it, set against the cloudy Wisconsin sky. Upon closer examination, it appears unlikely that the photo has been altered, as the consistent blur throughout suggests that the UFO was likely not added digitally. The second photo, taken from a different angle, offers a closer view of the object partially obscured by tree branches. This obstruction further diminishes the likelihood of digital editing, as placing the craft behind such complex shapes without errors would be quite challenging. Analyzing the zoomed-in version reveals a slight blur in the lights beneath the craft, indicating that the UFO was slowly moving and suggesting a high level of detail if the image were indeed fabricated. Unfortunately, when this sighting was first reported online in 2007, only the location and date were provided, complicating the investigation. As of now, the mystery surrounding the Green Bay UFO remains unresolved, with no additional information or follow-up from the original witness. What are your thoughts on this sighting? Share your opinions in the comments below. On May 2nd, 2019, residents of a neighborhood in South Korea observed strange lights in the sky. The incident began when a local noticed 2 exceptionally bright objects from inside his home. At first, he thought the sighting was unremarkable, but his perspective changed when he stepped outside and saw that his neighbor was also captivated by the lights. The 2 elliptical objects remained visible, exhibiting an unusual flag-like pattern that was distinct from the typical airplanes seen in the area. The objects displayed an erratic flight pattern, frequently disappearing and reappearing in different locations. The lights continued to blink and move unpredictably before vanishing entirely. According to the witness, the unidentified objects made no sound, and there were no reports of military exercises or flare activities in the vicinity. While drones were the only feasible explanation for the event, The witness noted that drones were prohibited from flying in the area during the evening hours. Several attempts were made to replicate the incident. Locals tried launching fireworks and flying drones, but neither method produced a similar pattern or behavior. Despite these efforts and consultations with video analysis experts who found no signs of tampering, the nature and origin of the lights remained a mystery. The experts were unable to identify the objects, leaving the unusual sighting unexplained to this day. Let's move on to the next event, featuring 3 photos taken by Reddit user, Hey, It Might Be Eve. On an otherwise ordinary night, they were photographing the sky using a tripod when a red light caught their attention. According to the user, the light initially traveled in a straight line at the same speed as an airplane, but then vanished abruptly without accelerating. It simply disappeared. Looking at the photos, the sky is clear and full of stars, but what stands out is a red light zigzagging across the frame. If you're wondering how this motion appears in a still image, it's due to the use of long exposure photography. With the camera's shutter open for an extended period, any moving object leaves a trail, while stationary objects, like stars, remain sharp. With this context, we can rule out meteors or shooting stars, as their movements don't match the pattern captured. Planes are also unlikely for the same reason. Notably, other witnesses have reported similar phenomena. One Reddit user described seeing an orange orb zigzag and vanish in 2021, while a separate account mentioned a couple witnessing an orange object moving erratically before disappearing. Despite efforts from the UFO community to analyze the photos, no definitive explanation has been found, leaving this event unresolved to this day.
Now, let's turn to South Wales, where an intriguing incident occurred on September 17, 2016. A police helicopter equipped with heat-seeking cameras captured footage of a spherical object moving erratically. The officers involved reported that the object was flying against the wind at approximately 106 miles per hour and remained invisible to air traffic control. The object hovered at an altitude of around 1,000 feet and was only detectable through the helicopter's thermal camera, which the officers were testing by tracking planes approaching Cardiff Airport. The encounter lasted about 8 minutes, with the footage showing the officers adjusting camera settings in an attempt to identify the mysterious object. Despite their experience, none of the crew could offer a definitive explanation for the event.
On November 13th, 2023, Weegee, a city in Minnesota, became the focus of national attention. The reason? A cigar-shaped object was recorded flying over a Minnesota airport at an astonishing horizontal speed. Upon closer inspection, the footage reveals a solid white, oblong object with rounded edges and a smooth surface. But the mystery didn't end there. Before 7 p.m. that evening, the area's emergency communications center received multiple reports of a loud explosion and a bright flash in the sky. Witnesses from nearby counties also reported seeing, hearing, and even feeling the incident. Supporting these accounts, a second video captured by a security camera shows the same object, followed moments later by a loud boom, matching the reports from emergency centers across several counties. To this day, no conclusive explanation has been provided, leaving the event shrouded in mystery.
Let's take a closer look at some fascinating footage. Initially, I dismissed it as a poorly made hoax and nearly overlooked it. However, after delving deeper into the details, my perspective shifted. The video shows a saucer-shaped object flying alongside an aircraft. Although limited information exists about the footage, some speculate that the plane in question might be a fighter jet. The exact date of the recording remains unknown, but the earliest YouTube upload traces back to 2008. This doesn't necessarily indicate the video was shot in 2008. The most plausible theory suggests it was recorded between 2003 and 2006. Two key clues support this idea. A camcorder lens is visible in the cockpit's reflection, and a yellow line at the bottom of the video hints at analog to digital conversion. If it were from 2008, it would likely have been captured with a digital camera or phone rather than a cassette-based camcorder. Sadly, beyond these observations, little else can be deduced, leaving us with more questions than answers about one of the most intriguing UFO videos ever captured.
Next, we head back to California, where photos of a classic saucer-shaped UFO come into focus. While the exact date of these pictures remains unknown, the Reddit user who shared them states they were taken by an elderly man from his balcony. Despite some graininess, the image clearly shows a flying saucer with red glowing lights and what appeared to be windows. Adding to the intrigue, a second witness reported seeing a similar object in Washington back in 2015. I was with my buddy Greg driving east on I-90 from Seattle to Wallace, Idaho. We saw a huge flash of light directly over the highway that blinded us. In its place appeared this exact craft, completely silent and hovering about 40 to 50 feet off the road, directly in front of us. It moved to the left over a mountain ridge and made zero noise and didn't have any propulsion. It just floated away silently, as we saw every single detail within, up close 50 feet or less. It had no doors or windows. It had what I would describe as red and purple lightning bolts, sparking all around underneath it, but completely silent. It was also extremely large, approximately 200 to 300 feet wide. Considering the clarity of the photos and the fact that multiple witnesses reported seeing the UFO, this incident gains an added layer of credibility. If these images are indeed authentic, what are we looking at? Could it be something extraterrestrial, or perhaps a top-secret military aircraft? Share your thoughts.
William, William.
Let's rewind to 2007 in Taraca, Costa Rica. Around 4 p.m., Marvin Badilla, a young carpenter, was working when a strange buzzing sound caught his attention. Looking up, he noticed the source of the noise about 100 meters away. Acting quickly, Marvin pulled out his phone and began recording. While filming the unidentified object, he repeatedly called out to a colleague operating a drill nearby, but his calls went unheard. After trying one last time to get his friend's attention, Marvin turned back to find that the object had vanished. The footage captured on his Motorola Vi 3 phone shows what appears to be a classic flying saucer hovering just a few meters above the ground. Marvin estimated its size to be comparable to the wheel of a large tractor. William Rivera, the carpenter working with the drill, later confirmed that Marvin was visibly shaken after the encounter.
In October 2018, 2 enigmatic videos emerged online, showcasing an unusual UFO sighting. Reportedly, the first video was removed just a few days after it was initially uploaded, making it a relatively obscure sighting for several years until it was eventually re-uploaded on Reddit in 2024, where it earned the nickname the Acorn UFO. The footage features an acorn-shaped object hovering in broad daylight before vanishing behind trees. The second video is said to capture the same mysterious object from a different angle. However, there is some confusion surrounding the exact location of the sighting, with some sources claiming it occurred over Cataco, Mexico, while others suggest it was in WEA, Hawaii. As a result, the precise location of the incident remains unknown. Despite extensive online discussions since the video was shared on Reddit, no definitive explanation has been provided regarding the object or its origins, leaving the incident without a concrete resolution to this day. This event takes us to Pacifica, California on September 6th, 2022. The footage, captured by a security camera overlooking the streets and surroundings of Maury Point, initially shows nothing unusual. Suddenly, a bright light appears in the sky. The object displays erratic movements, such as sharp turns flashing on and off and moving at high speeds. At first glance, the most logical explanation is that the light could be a drone. However, before the recording ends, the object makes a sudden, rapid descent, emits an even brighter flash, and then vanishes, never to be seen again. What are your thoughts on this? Personally, I don't think it's a drone.
On November 6th, 2023, a cigar-shaped object was recorded hovering slowly in the skies over Illinois, in broad daylight. Right away, we can rule out the possibility of it being a blimp, as the object appears much more elongated and flat. Upon zooming in on the footage, the theory of it being a plane can also be dismissed. There are no visible wings. Interestingly, this object shares striking similarities with the one spotted in Minnesota. As discussed earlier, could these two sightings be connected? When viewed side by side, they appear almost identical, aside from differences in speed. What are your thoughts on this footage? With planes and blimps already ruled out, could it be something else entirely? Share your opinions in the comments. On December 12th, 2023, at 11:25 p.m. in Oroville, California, an unsettling event occurred during the peak of the Geminid meteor shower. While stepping outside to take in the view, an anonymous witness encountered a peculiar phenomenon in the sky. High above, numerous orbs blinked in an irregular pattern for approximately an hour. Around 11:30 p.m., the witness observed an airplane passing through the sky, which made a slight noise. However, once the plane departed, the orbs continued to blink in eerie silence. Initially, the witness considered the lights might be fireflies, but quickly dismissed this notion due to the orb's high altitude and the cold temperatures. Adding to the mystery, the video's creator reported that dogs in the vicinity began barking for no apparent reason, a behavior often associated with UFO sightings. At one point, the orbs arranged themselves into distinct formations, including a triangle. The witness was convinced these were not Starlink satellites, as those typically move in a straight line, unlike the erratic movements of the orbs. Despite the intrigue surrounding this incident, little discussion has taken place, and no significant progress has been made toward an explanation, leaving the event shrouded in mystery. What do you think about this sighting? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Let's turn to Punta Arenas, Chile, on May 28, 2016. Aside from the date and location, no additional information was provided about this video. In the footage, a green light hovers above the ocean, appearing to consist of two distinct light sources. Toward the end of the video, as the camera zooms out, the scale of the light becomes apparent compared to the city in the background. Initially, a drone seems like the most plausible explanation. However, when we examine the zoomed-in footage, the object's unusual shape and color give reason to reconsider. What do you think this could be? If you've made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also support the channel by becoming a member through the join button below. It really helps us out. On July 21st, 2024, a 33-second video appeared on Reddit, capturing a saucer-shaped object flying over Miami. While the exact date of the sighting remains unclear, the video quickly attracted significant online attention, amassing over 5,800 upvotes and 811 comments due to its clear visuals. However, reactions were mixed. Skeptics suggested it could be a flying advertisement banner or a balloon. I'll leave a link in the corner for you to check that out. Returning to the Miami sighting, despite the extensive discussion and analysis, no conclusive explanation has surfaced, leaving both the nature of the object and the incident itself unresolved.